Recognizes Mr. Sessions from Texas for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Administrator, welcome. There's already this morning some disagreement about the questions that we're asking you. I've heard you very clearly talk about the EPA under your leadership as cost-effective solutions, pragmatic, American needs a strong EPA, scientific-based answers, fairness. So I'd like to engage in a dialogue with you if I can, as opposed to a long-winded opportunity here. Please tell me, as we talk about formaldehyde, are you aware that the European Union occupational exposure limit was just codified at 300 parts per billion?
Yes.
You were, thank you. Are you aware that the air outside this building and the air in this room is naturally occurring with formaldehyde?
I can't speak to the...
Well, you're the head of the EPA. If you don't know that formaldehyde is everywhere as we breathe it, not only in this building but outside, so I'll tell you that answer is yes. Let it be noted the head of the EPA did not understand that formaldehyde is a naturally occurring substance. Are you aware that the Human Studies Review Board, known as HSRB, within EPA, opposed and had problems with the recommendation of 11 parts per billion that is now being codified into your rules and regulations? Were you aware that they had problems with 11 parts per billion?
I was not aware.
We're not aware. Are you, the gentleman, aware that the permissible parts per billion is 750 parts per billion under OSHA for exposure limit for formaldehyde?
Congressman Sessions, for the types of questions you're asking, we have
They're very
experts.
direct.
They have
You are the head of this organization, and you have proposed taking to 11 parts per billion. You showed up here and you talked about fairness, cost-effective solutions, pragmatic, scientific-based, and yet within your own boards that provide you with data and information, they have said 11 parts per billion is well out of line and cannot even be measured. And yet our friends, your friends that are up here on this committee, as we are asking you what are not tough questions. They're really pragmatic, they're science-based, they're cost-effective ways to look at things, and you are standing behind changing some 20 of these different chemicals and putting them to standards that would be, once again, Europe has their occupational exposure limit is 300 parts per billion. America's at this time under OSHA is 750 parts per billion. You did not know that it is regularly occurring all around in every room outside, and yet your own committee within your Department of Human Studies Review Board said, please do not do this. We have problems, and yet you have put your stamp on 11 parts per billion that is not even able to be calculated. And yet, if you look at 11 to 300 to 750, you chose to show up here and to say to this committee and to plead with us, you have to save every single life, and yet it cannot even be measured. You talk about fairness, you talk about cost effectiveness, you talk about being pragmatic, you talk about science-based answers, and the head of EPA showed up today and said he did not even know that formaldehyde was regularly, naturally occurring at levels well above 11 parts per billion. Mr. Chairman, this is why we seemingly have problems and why my side, yes, we are Republicans, and we're not these crazy-eyed people that you have heard about today. We are saying we want you to be pragmatic. We want you to be fair. But you can't even justify 11 parts per billion because it can't even be measured. There are no scientific measures to measure that on a regularly recurring basis. And you have put an onus on industry. Formaldehyde is used in plastics, it's used in cars, it's used in national security, it's used all over the United States, what we would call the free enterprise system, but it's capitalism.
Thank
And
you.
it's a
Thank you,
cost-effective
Mr.
way to
Sessions.
look
We're out of
at
time.
things. I
Thank you.
yield back my time. Sir, we do want to talk.
All
with
right, I would now like to recognize